A very good morning to you. Thank you so very much for joining us here on Global Morning. This is Global Television. We're live in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. I'm Uyi Agumofwegbe.
And I am Priscilla Obasi. Such a delight to be here again on a Friday morning.
Again. Right, it is. Of course, as we always say here, great weekends begin on Fridays. So we want to also believe that yours has started out on a very good note. And we hope we're able to, at the end of the day, add value to your life. And of course, make sense of the time you're spending with us here on the program. This morning, we're going to be looking at some of the big stories from the week as it currently is. And then, of course, one or two of the events from yesterday as well. As a matter of fact, two of them. All right, we'll look at all that, especially the one that borders on security. The service chiefs, as appointed by President Tinubu, who were eventually inaugurated yesterday. We now understand that there's a new sheriff in town, as they say. All right. Of course, the service chiefs who just left had done their beats. They've passed the baton to the new service chiefs. But for Nigerians, it's not just about the change in leadership. It is about what changes real time, what changes in the practical sense of the word, all right? So what does this change in leadership mean for insecurity? What does it mean for the farmer in somewhere in a village in Kebbi State? What does it mean for the person doing their small business somewhere in, let's say, Borno, for example? What does it mean for the person in Benue whose livelihood revolves around farming? And then what does it also mean for those somewhere down south who have had to grapple with kidnapping for many years? At some point, you're even hearing that kidnappers now have their strongholds across communities in different states in the south. And you're wondering how we slept for so long to get us to where we are today. There's a particular state in the south where members of the opposition are now calling on the governor almost on a daily basis to say, please come to our rescue. And they keep talking about kidnappings across different parts of the state and things like that. And we live in a country where the governor is said to be the chief security officer.
How realistic is that? Is the question. You know, the whole issue of kidnapping started as a joke in this country. But right now, it is something serious. And as we are approaching the Ember month, as they call it, we are right.
Well, we're already in the middle of
Ember
it.
month, and December is that season where people get to travel. I saw someone on social media coming out to clamor saying, if you're going to go by road this December, make sure that your, whatever transport company you're using is going with a security agency or some kind of, security force to guarantee your safety, because it is that bad.
Right.
It is that bad that the ones we get to hear are the ones we get to hear. There are so many untold stories, that so many untold lives that have been wasted and all of that, and it's really alarming. I said it when the whole hands changed, when new security personnel were appointed. The swiftness in which it came, it showed that a person's life is important. At least somebody's life is important.
Right.
And I wish that can be channeled to every Nigerian out there. I wish that energy, the swiftness, the reaction, that came with this change in hands, change in leadership. I wish every Nigerian live out there would be given such attention.
Right.
That way, Nigeria we will be able to call this nation, because we are at that point where, sadly, a lot of people don't like to call Nigeria home again. When we see funny videos on the internet, AI-generated videos of children giving birth to and then reacting, the Nigeria you bought me, those kind of funny reactions, and that's the reality of it. The common man out there, what is the hope for them? What is that hope? How safe am I? Can I sleep with my two eyes closed? Can I have this rest of mind when I go to bed without being scared? And let's even leave the urban areas. Let's go to the rural communities where it is the reality of their everyday life.
Yeah.
The farmers go to the farm and they are not sure of their safety. It's more like them risking their lives at this point. So, I mean, if our lives are not guaranteed, what can we? There's nothing to boast about our nation. If the common man, if we cannot go to bed, without blinking an eye, without feeling unsafe, why should we call Nigeria home? So it is, all I'm saying is security needs to, be more be intensified. Whatever action they are taking, whatever strategies that they have laid, it needs to be, doubled at this point, because this is that point, this is that time of the year where we get to hear all the bad news and all of that. So, we're hopeful that the change of hands will actually bring a change to those stories we usually hear during this time of the year, and things get better for us. Yeah.
Right. Quite interesting to say, but again, we realize that, like I said yesterday when we got talking with Ramsey Obong and I on the desk, I said, look, we must be sure how we measure progress. We keep hearing things, for example, 38 terrorists decimated in the Northeast, 25 bandits eliminated in Zamfara State. It's not safe, without any prejudice to those reports, including the ones that we directly see even on global television, the director of Defense Information giving out those numbers and things like that. The important thing is, how do we measure that progress from the citizen standpoint? It is one thing for the military or defense authorities to tell you we have made XYZ progress. Yeah. But how does that reflect in the situation on the ground? That is important, because in this same country, in our own very lifetime, right in front of us, a former chief of army staff had told senators that, look, Nigeria would need 20 years to fight and win against Boko Haram. And I'm curious, as somebody who has never been in the military and will never be, because I'm sure I've missed that opportunity, but I'm a Nigerian, and I'm concerned for myself, I'm concerned for those I care about, I'm concerned for my fellow country people, that nobody has asked, or nobody asked him, by what metrics, by what, if you like, indices did you come to that conclusion that it will take 20 years? It's like me saying, for example, it will take 3 years for Global Morning to have 30,000 real-time viewers on YouTube channel. So the question is, what data did I extrapolate to? This is scientific. It's not just something you say out of emotion or how you feel, or because you want to be politically correct. Yeah. Somebody must be smart and brilliant enough to ask those questions. How did you get to that point? Just like the current government under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu says, by 2030, its goal, that is the goal of this administration, is to take Nigeria from where it is now to a $1 trillion economy, which is ambitious, which is audacious, which is also commendable. It's good. Progress is good. We all welcome that. But the question is, how much work do we need to put in to achieve that benchmark? Hit the bullseye, as they say. Is it realistic to set a target such as what we have right now? Because this is a government that came into office in 2023. Yeah. And then you want to hit this target by 2030. So which means you have a 7-year time window to do that. Is it possible? I cannot sit here and say it's not possible because I don't like the president, because I don't like the APC. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or because I'm a pessimist, or because I don't understand economics. No. I also want to hear from those who are pushing this narrative beyond the politics of it, beyond the optics, to say, okay, these are the data we have supporting this ambition and the reality, all right, of it. So it's the same thing I think it is with security. For example, if I've heard of situations, I've heard a guest tell me on my live program that, look, there are people in places, for example, in the Northwest, including in Kebbi State, who can't go to farm unless they've paid a certain kind of levy. In fact, I was taken aback when he said to me very categorically that there are people who have children all over the place, including here in Abuja, whose obligation it is every other month to send money home to their parents, most of whom are aged, so they can make remittances to bandits in order to be able to gain access or regain access to their farmlands. Do you understand? So if you come and say we are making progress and the circumstances of those people in such communities have not changed for the better.
Well, I think we are quite nonchalant about a lot of things, even on the leadership, even on the top level, our leaders up there. we just feel like we're emotional human beings in this country. In Nigeria, we're quite emotional, and
is that a good thing?
well, of course not.
Are we not human beings? Are we not supposed to be?
No. We're supposed to be, but we judge things. We tend to project our perspectives from an emotional point of view. We are not realistic. We are not logical. Even up there. For example, a security agency comes out, or say one of those agencies come out to say, okay, this is what we want to achieve. What are the strategies? What are the plans? You don't just come out to give statements, to make statements. You have to back your statements with facts. You have to back your statements with strategies on how you want to achieve. There's nothing you set out to do in this life that if you don't plan towards, you would ever achieve it. So we just want to hear, or we just want to give out statements out there to Nigerians. And like you said, what is the citizens' perspective to this? I think we have gotten to that point where before we come out to utter words or to give out utterances, we need to be able to back it up with maybe some people in that community. You cannot come out to say, okay, we have defeated insecurity in this part of the state or this part of the country, and we don't have evidences of indigenes of that particular community coming out to say, yes, we have defeated insecurity. We just have one person, one army person coming out to say, okay, this is the situation of things. I don't think it makes any sense, really. I really don't think it makes sense. So we need to be factual. We need to be, we need to have evidence-based, utterances if you're coming out to speak, because like a particular person in this country will say, "Our mumu don't do."
Right.
You get. It is not. We have gone past that point where you come out to say, "Okay, this is what we want to do. This is what we have done," and we are not seeing anything happening. And that's what we keep getting over and over and over again. If the president comes out to say, "Okay, we have defeated price of food has come down," some other people in the state or the country are saying, "Where is it happening?" They have not really experienced it. Somebody comes out and say, "This is what." So how do we judge this statement? Why do we just accept this statement, or are we even accepting it? That is the question. Or is it that we do not have anything to do? We just we don't have anything to do, or we cannot. There's nothing we can do, really. Right. So I think we need to our leaders need to understand that we are humans. You get, and they should treat us with empathy. They should treat us with like human beings. You get that humanity is gone. Really, it is really gone. And I mean, if we don't view leadership in that, with that perspective, or from that point of view, I mean, what are we doing? What are we? How are we? We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So we need empathetic leaders. We need leaders that are factual. We need leaders that that are truthful. That are truthful. Don't just come out and say things because you want to cajole people, just because you want the tension to come down or whatever it is. No, we cannot grow. If we say Nigeria is ours, we really need to take it as ours. We really need to be intentional about the citizens in the country. We need to be intentional about every single action of ours, right, so that we can actually make progress. Else, really, we're just going to be going around this cycle.
Well, that's quite an interesting way to put it, but so we can't continue to keep going around cycles. Like I said yesterday, you can't solve a problem with the same mentality or culture that created it. Same way you can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. Let's take a quick break now, but it's time for us to bring you our motivational segment.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Wow, it doesn't matter how slowly you are going, but then don't stop, keep moving. Welcome to Heart to Heart on Global Television. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. How are you doing? How are you faring today? What's going on around you? I believe you are fine. I believe everyone is doing well. And I'm so excited that we can talk heart to heart today. You know, it takes a man who is actually serious with life to know that it doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. And that's a quote coming from Confucius. Let me just inform you that we want to look at perseverance today. You know, when you talk about perseverance, a lot of people will think about so many things. When you talk about perseverance, some people will think of, when you talk about perseverance, you are referring to something that has to do with keep moving, endurance, and all of that. But then, let me just let you know that perseverance is the art of consistency in the face of obstacles. It's the act of you saying, well, I will continue the journey even when progress is slow. Results may be minimal. Results may not even be coming at all. But then you will say, well, I will keep going. Or motivation may be slow. Maybe no one is encouraging you because everyone in the family or in your office or in the community have already think that you can't amount to anything. Maybe because people are not seeing results, they talk down on you. People say so many things about you. But then perseverance helps us to keep moving even when the result is slow. Sometimes the results may not even be there at all. But it teaches us that success isn't always about speed or grand achievement. It doesn't matter who have gone ahead. Some people might be doing very well right now and you're feeling bad. But then it doesn't matter how slow you are. When you keep doing it, you keep doing it. You keep doing it until you become an expert. And overtaking is allowed, as a matter of fact. So I just want you to know that success isn't always about the speed or the grand achievements, what you have accumulated. Sometimes it's simply about staying on course, all right, refusing to give up, irrespective of every pointer, everything happening, telling you to give up. Maybe some things are happening that you are supposed to give up, but then you persevere, you keep pushing, I can make it, I can make it, I can make it. I can make it. That mindset, it just keeps ringing in you, you know, and every small step forward matters. Every small step. Like I said in one of our episodes, I was saying that if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, let there be motion. At all means, by all means, at all costs. Just make sure there is motion, because every small step forward matters a lot. And that is what Confucius is always saying. But then I also want you to know that wisdom speaks to the value of persistence over perfection. But a lot of people don't know that. Many people give up because they think they are not making enough progress. And that's why we don't have consistency anymore. You see someone run from one business, you are doing this business today, tomorrow you are into this one, you are doing this one today, next tomorrow you are into this one. Oh, my friend is flourishing in this business, let me get there. By the time you get there, the one you were mastering gradually, you left it to another one, you're starting afresh again, and you see yourself going backward. But then, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with the whole of your heart. It's your vision, it's your pursuit. You need to persevere on it. A lot of people think they are not making enough progress, but this quote reminds us that movement, no matter how small, is still progress. That's what it means. Over time, the tiny efforts compound into major breakthroughs. Those little things you're doing. Those little things you're doing, I don't know, but tiny efforts compounds into what we call major breakthrough. And those who persevere are often ones who reach the finish line. That's it. Those who persevere, they are the ones who reach the finish line. Do you know how many people get to school, gain admission the same day? Do you know how many people graduate? Do you know how many people go to NDA? How many people are able to go through the rigorous exercise? Those that persevere. Some of them, when their colleagues who dropped out see them, they say, you don't be major now. It is about perseverance. It's only people who persevere that always reach the finish line. A lot of people have started so many things in life, but they couldn't see the end. A lot of people want to prosper, but the little things, days of little beginning, is being ignored. They despise days of little beginning. They don't know that little step that you keep taking, matters so much. I want to give an instance. Well, some of you may not be familiar with this, but when Noah built the ark, do you know that the fastest animal entered? Do you know that tortoise, no matter how slow it was moving, it also got into the ark? The difference is the time frame. So you need to persevere in whatever you're doing. Only people who persevere get to the finish line. You will get there if you don't break the rules of the game and you persevere. So you don't need to despise the days of your little beginning, because gradually, as you're going, you keep knowing the rules of the game, the way that business works, the way that profession works. You keep growing in it. You keep growing in it gradually, until you get to the finish line where you become a professional. But some persons are not humble enough to persevere, to endure, to go through the process of making. For you to be a made man, there is a process. There is always a way to the end of everything. You can't just break protocols. You can't just go to school today and say, no, I don't want to go to secondary school. I just want to go straight to the university. No, it's not possible. No matter what, no matter how rigorous it is, no matter how time-consuming, you need to persevere, endure the hard times, because joy comes in the morning. After everything you've persevered, joy will come. So it's only people who persevere that gets to the finish line, not because they were the fastest, but because they never quit. Quitting is not an option. A lot of people quitted yesterday. Today they are regretting. You need to be very careful concerning decisions that you make, because the decisions you make today will determine where you will be tomorrow. You need to stay put no matter what, because quitters are never winners, and winners have never been quitters. They don't quit. If you want to win, if you want to be at the top of your game, if you want to succeed in life, you need to persevere, because there are mountains to climb. Sometimes you will think, well, this is a bent road, but you should also know that a bent road is not an end road. The road might be bent, but the road doesn't end there. So as it is, you need to try everything possible to persevere. Well, as I said, just keep pushing, perseverance. No matter how slow you are going, you will get to your destination. My name is Ramsey Enoch. We'll see you again in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Thank you so much, Ramsey, for that amazing work there. Hopefully, even though, yes, it's the last working day of the week, you've been psyched, at least for the weekend and going into the next week. But then we'll continue to motivate you here and just leave you all pumped for the challenges that the day brings. All right, it's time to bring you a newspaper review at this point, everyone.
Yeah. So on the newspaper review, we'll start with the first paper here, which is the Punch newspaper. And above the nameplate, we have the first story. EFCC NFIU launch crackdown on alleged coup funders. And that detail is on page 2 and 7. There's a writer to that story that says, Army reshuffles top ranks, redeploys 67 generals, detained officers, names uncovered. The next story, U.S. Defense Shoyinka's visa revocation. That detail is on page 3, and we'll go to the star story. But before that, I do want to talk about the U.S. and Wale Soyinka's visa was revoked by the U.S. authority, and I know personally I've been wondering why.
He had said that he can't recollect any offense he had committed against the United States authorities to have warranted the revocation of his visa. But there's some story says that there was a time he threatened to shred his U.S. green card. All right. Then we're also hearing that he had been invited. Of course, he has also said he had been invited by the U.S. authorities. Maybe it was on account of that green card issue that he threatened to tear.
Yeah.
Right. But he didn't honor the invitation for his personal reasons. So I think this is what they call on social media clapback.
Oh, by the U.S. government.
Right.
Okay, that is not funny though, but I mean, I hope they resolve whatever it is. Petrol soars above 1,000 per litre as Tinubu okays 15% import tariff. Federal government moves to protect Dangote, local refineries from cheap imports. Few importers face tighter margins. That detail is on page 2. I don't know how I'm to feel about this, but this doesn't seem so nice. Bayelsa deputy governor sues assembly over impeachment plot. Wow, you find that detail on page 7. Oando records 164% surge in profit after tax. That detail is on page 19. Party registration. INEC disqualifies 6 political groups. You find that detail on page 8. 4 others die in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway crash. Sad one there. You find that detail on page 4 and 6. Over 30 states rely on federal government on federal allocation. The detail that is coming from a report. Those are the details, or those are your headlines for the Punch newspaper. Let's go to the next paper, which is The Guardian.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. On The Guardian now, we have 3 headlines just right above the star headline. First on top right says CBN banks can downgrade licenses if unable to meet recapitalization threshold. Banks can downgrade licenses if unable to meet recapitalization threshold. Sounds like it's not a do or die affair. All right, do what you can. Nigeria shouldn't be among hunger-stricken countries, says Obi. You can read up those details on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Then there's a headline here with the picture of President Bola Tinubu. It says, it says Nigerians expect results, not excuses, Tinubu tells service chiefs. I think that much message is very incisive. Justice on trial as courts battle neglects infrastructure deficits. JAMB probes 10 staffers over corrupt practices. And then one here says petrol may hit 1,163 naira litre as federal government targets 4.8 trillion naira yearly from fresh tariff. APC gains upper hand in House as defections reshape power balance. You understand quite a number of members of House of Representatives in Enugu have also now decamped, obviously following the footsteps of the state governor Peter Mbah. LG unveils national cash voucher policy to strengthen humanitarian response. Anambra Guba polls EU partners call for ban on non-statutory security groups. 8 of 14 new parties scale documentation hurdle, INEC says, which means that of the 14 political groups, well, just 8 are now found worthy. Read up details from the Guardian newspaper today, as we take you to the very next paper, which is This Day newspaper.
Okay, so the first story on the This Day newspaper is coming from, has a kicker, Ed Dun. Removal of fuel subsidy, FX reforms have strengthened redirected public resources. I don't know why I have to be the one reading this. Sometimes I feel a bit bad reading all of this because
Is it depressing?
it is, and we all know that the times ahead doesn't seem funny with all of these stories. Well, let's go to the writers we have here. World Bank. There are clear signs of macroeconomic stability, occasional by reforms. Oyedele. Nigeria avoided economic catastrophe by implementing reforms, I beg your pardon. Declares new laws have not added tax burden on masses, but reversed many unfriendly regulations, insists reforms people-centric, growth-focused, and efficiency-driven. Says country can contribute $2 billion monthly from remote work opportunities enabled by tax reform. Okay, those are the writers to that story. Federal government launches closer implementing single window policy for efficiency at Nigerian ports by 2026. To the Star story, Tinubu to service chief. Defeat these enemies once. I will provide all the support. Declares his government won't tolerate excuses again. CDS seeks support of Nigerians in fight against terrorism, pledges armed forces support for democratic rule. Shake up in army as chief of army staff redeploys top generals, all the senior officers. The final one. Oando announces 164% rise in financials, posts 210 billion naira profit in 9 months. That detail is on page 9. Those are your headlines for this day newspaper. Let's go now to the Nation newspaper.
All right. Then above the nameplate is where we start from. Let's look at it from the top left corner with a picture of Justice Salami there. It says, Jonathan not eligible to contest in 2027, says Justice Salami. This is a former appeal court judge for the records. Those details are on page 3. Jonathan not eligible to contest in 2027, says Justice Salami. What is the basis on which he's saying that? Well, this is a retired judge of the Supreme Court, I should say of the appeal court, so you can look up those details on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Reps probe tax deductions, multiple bank charges. Southwest galvanizes for regional integration. It says winning generations, let's see what it says. Yeah, it says mining generates $30 billion. That's again on the Nation newspaper today. All right, taking it further down to the Star headline, be proactive and get results. Tinubu orders service chiefs. CDS pledges armed forces loyalty to defense of democracy. Shake up in army. Imported petrol to attract 15% tariff. So what's the idea? To encourage local production, I guess. There has been this theory that the goal ultimately is to be able to encourage local production, especially Dangote, which is apparently on the front line of locally producing crude. So for context, because the fear has been since this story broke yesterday, that, is going to ultimately lead to an increase in the pump price of petrol.
Yeah.
Of course, the brunt of which citizens will suffer. But what the government is doing is to say, look, we are not going to stop you from importing petrol, but if you import, you pay 15% tariff. All right?
So what happens to Dangote?
So Dangote produces locally, yes. So it means traffic, so to speak, now redirects to Dangote, who produces locally, plus who has also assured that he has enough petrol to feed West Africa. So going by that, it means Dangote alone can produce the amounts of petrol that Nigeria needs. And if that's the case, why do you need to import?
Exactly.
I think that's the economic sense the government is trying to make with this policy. So before we get all emotional and start throwing tantrums over this, I think it's important we understand the context.
Well,
And the intention behind it.
The intention, to me, it seems it's looking like a political play. One
How is
side trying to, side the Pengasin and the likes of them, and the other
unions,
all the unions, and the others trying to stand with Dangote. So they're trying to make it a fair battle. Let us make it even so that everybody has a chance to play.
It becomes a win-win.
Yes, it becomes a win-win. But then, of course, this will affect Nigerians because if it is Dangote against the unions, we all know
So
that
who wins,
eventually
in your own opinion?
the union will win. They would find a way to sideline Dangote to push the price, and if that happens, of course, the price of fuel would definitely go up. It would definitely.
So
go
you're
up.
saying this is ultimately more of a union problem than a government problem?
Yes, it is. Some, what I call them, some big guys there, up there, trying to play fair. That's what I see. That is the situation, because it's just them trying to be neutral. We all know that the game is between Dangote versus unions, and these policies are just to make it look as if it's a fair deal. You guys, we have an evil playing ground. Let the best man win, but the best man will not win. The best man is not likely to win in this because it is a union versus a Dangote.
Right.
That is what is going to play out. Anyways, let's keep our fingers crossed. I really am hoping that this doesn't get messy, because we do not want another increase in the pump price of petrol.
Right, petrol.
Okay, I think that is on you. We're done with the Nation newspaper. Okay, right away, still the Nation newspaper, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the last story there is new defections take APC to 2/3 majority of House of Reps, and that is on page 3. I think you were on that paper. Let's go to the next one, which is the Daily Trust.
The Trust newspaper now.
The Daily Trust.
All right. Let's kick it with the Daily Trust now. Not much of headlines, but let's begin with what we have. The Star headline first. Fuel price may go up. Marketers, again, same story as the one we were just talking about a while ago. Army redeploys 67 generals. Tinubu demands results. What APC can do with 2/3 National Assembly majority. You can read us up to when you pick up a copy of the Daily Trust today. Bauchi to create additional 29 local government areas, 6 National Assembly approval. 29 local governments. In addition to how many, and what makes that a necessity? Well, you can read it up from the Daily Trust today. Alleged coup plots, Brigadier General Colonels, others under probe. 8 die in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway crash. Cameroon's opposition leader flees. UN France warn against repression. All right. Air travelers kick as NCAA introduces $11.5 security levy. Stakeholders and air travelers are concerned that this would, rub off on airfares. But let's see how it is eventually resolved. Those are your headlines from the Daily Trust. Let's go to the Daily Monitor for you.
Okay, so on the Daily Monitor, above the nameplate, there is the first story. We recovered over 90 mining sites from illegal miners, and that's coming from Alaki. To the big story, be innovative in tackling terrorism, security threats. two riders to that. Want new armed groups emerging in parts of North Central, Northwest, South smashed. Reaffirms commitment to support armed forces with resources needed to effectively execute their mandate. Major shakeup as Army redeploys, appoints 2 top officers, charges affected officers to sustain operational momentum, strengthen interagency collaboration, uphold Army's core values. Those are right. Okay, let us go to the just above the nameplate. We have Tinubu's decision to revise pardon list shows strength, not weakness, and that's coming from Onanuga. That details on page 2. Federal government approves 758 billion naira bonds to clear pension liabilities. That is coming from PenCom DG. And that detail is on page 4. NMDPRA urges Nigerians downstream markets. Page 13 is where you find that detail. NLC pushes for 50% pension withdrawal rights, and that detail is on page 12. Those are your headlines for the Daily Monitor. Now let's go to the Nigerian Tribune.
Thank you. Nigerian Tribune has a star story here that says, that's on the Nigerian Tribune, Southwest leaders want Tinubu to prioritize regional integration. With 2 riders, lament deplorable states of federal roads in region, push for Yoruba unity, good governance. Adeleke decries unjust attitude of FG towards federating states, says I'm too popular to be afraid. ADA, ASP seeks other associations for next stage of party registration. So it's going to be quite a number of parties or political parties going into the 2027 general election. Experts warn of tougher times as FG approves 15% import duty on petrol, diesel. What more do we have? 6 dead, 2 trapped in multiple accidents on Kara Bridge. Another 5 die in Ondo crash. Those sad stories on page 31. SEC partners CBN EFCC to track freeze illicit digital wallet. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission, partnering the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to track freeze illicit digital wallet. That sounds like a tall order, really, tracking digital wallets, right? Health, how to manage, prevent stomach cancer, medical reports. Tinubu to service chiefs, Nigerians expect results, not excuses. Major shakeup as Army redeploys, appoints top officers. And then lastly, on the fate of the paper, Brunei begins export of plastic materials to improve IGR. That sounds quite creative. But let's look at our next paper, which is the Blueprint newspaper. Happens to be our penultimate paper this morning. Let's turn to the Blueprint for you.
Okay, so on the Blueprint newspaper, the first story above the nameplate. Tinubu giving our agency necessary backing to succeed, and that's coming from the National Rotation Agency. That detail is on page 9. News. Natasha invites Apapio others to project commissioning in Kogi State. Well, that is quite commendable. Yes, I think I saw that on her.
So can she her swords and who knows, find common ground again, right?
Yeah, but I think it's more of, her proving to the national, to the House of Rep that you can pull me down. You get because I think I saw a post she made on Facebook.
Has she proven that by the
by showing
projects?
Yes, by showing that she's working, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so
You can't stop me.
you cannot shut me up. I'm here to work and I'm here to.
All the way to message. Well, we're happy for her, and the impact it's having on the people she represents.
Yeah. So there's a business news here. GT Bank UBA leads as Nigerian banks see 15% surge in digital engagement. That detail is on page 20. Let's go to sports. World Cup playoffs and FF confirms Super Eagles camp opening date. You find that detail on page 32. We expect results, not excuses. Tinubu tells news service chiefs. CDS, UAS, CNS, CAS assume command, pledge loyalty. Federal government approves 758 billion naira bond to clear long-standing pension abilities. Okay, to the next story here. Why Tinubu approved 15% import duty on petrol, diesel? And that's coming from Adedeji. Consumers will still bear the burden of the new tax. Stakeholders. SEC partners CBN, EFCC on illicit digital wallets. Okay, that detail is on page 20. And those are your headlines for the Blueprint newspaper. Let's go to the Daily Independent.
Which incidentally is our very last this morning. All right, on Daily Independent here it says, first of all, top right, 2026, that's your kicker, and Chu Pepela to lose Adeleke Bulls ahead global race. Let's him that thinketh he standeth. Federal government, European Union, seal deals to boost local drug production, spur investment. Federal government slams 15% duty on imported fuel to make it more expensive. It's dramatic how Daily Independent puts it. It says federal government slams 15% duty on imported fuel to make it more expensive. Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
Let's see who wins.
Yes.
If they are able to push the 15% to all, say, filling stations, you know that it will mean that the fuel will get expensive. But if Dangote...
with 15% tariff.
Yes, but if Dangote is able to push... So it now depends on their marketing strategy.
So again, we're leaving this to market forces.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
good. All right, let's just make progress with the headlines from the Daily Independent. Cargo clearance at ports in 2026 to be less than 7 days. Shetima, that's the Vice President. SEC sounds the alarm as Ponzi scams swindle Nigerians of over 174 billion naira. That's interesting. Read is on page 6. That's a lot of money, 174 billion naira going into Ponzi scams. Natasha, in conciliatory move, invites Akpabio others. Let's see what it says about that. For project's inauguration, 8 associations meet criteria to move to next stage of party registration. Tinubu unveils digital ID app to aid financial inclusion, improve security architecture. Clear new security threats now, Tinubu tells service chiefs. And then we have 2 riders there underneath. Says, we can't allow crisis that began in 2009 persists. That's common sense in action, really, and the president is right. These 16 years and counting, we are still in the woods over insecurity across the country. Promises to provide them support to get the job done. So the ball is apparently in the court of the service chiefs now, giving the president's disposition in this regard. And finally, we refuse to remain spectators, say Enugu reps as they join APC. Those details are on page 7 of the Daily Independent. Do well to pick up these papers and read up details for yourself today so you can avoid fake news as you stay ahead of the news. We also like to remind you that all the headlines across all the papers that we bring to you here, they are just exactly as published by their respective publishers. Global Television or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to them. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll put our first conversation on the road for you. Do stay with us.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, time to turn to issues of security now, everyone. That has been a conversation for quite a long time. And just like we brought you in the papers a while ago, it is evident that even the president himself is not ignorant of where we are today as a country. So he says to the news service chiefs, go and deliver results. Nigerians are tired of excuses. And this morning, we're joined by someone who is an expert in the field of security and intelligence, Dr. Ahmed Getzel. He joins us virtually on the program this morning. Thank you, Dr. Getso, for taking our time this Friday morning to join us on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. I want us to begin from yesterday's event. The president was very clear about his charge to the new service chiefs. He says to them that for a security problem that has started since 2009, it is embarrassing and totally unacceptable for us to still be dragging over it in 2025. If you were one of the service chiefs, how would you interpret that charge?
Well, I will just interpret it as a political statement, which has no iota of sincerity, honesty, and any value. Business as usual. Because it is not about changing the personality or changing the personnel or changing the person, but rather changing the system. So those charges are just political statements. They are just mere political statements, which will not add any value and will not change anything. Consider the service chiefs as a failure in the next 1 year or 6 months, or even more than that, if 7 things are not done. One, if the president have not put in place measures to investigate those corrupt practices in order to serve as a deterrence for the new arrest. Number one. Number two, if modern technologies and armament are not brought, as we have seen the incoming chief of defense staff made mention very clear before the National Assembly that we don't have equipment, gadgets, and arms. We need that. And number three, if the recruitment, promotion, training, as well as discipline is not based on merit. And number four, Cherry in Nigeria remains rotten. And number five, if we still have the same people in the National Assembly, in the judiciary, and in the executive, and holding the responsibilities of offices and other political holders, as far as they maintain their offices, as far as they remain the same people on the throne of the power, count on that statement as a political statement. And can't come in 2 years and in their tenure entirely. And number six, if those who are found among the traditional, religious, as well as other philanthropists that have and other petroleum traders, transporters, NURT, other union leaders, as well as other influencers in the communities at the down level, are not handled and managed accordingly by going by the law. Those who were found to have a direct and indirect influence in promoting political reason. And number seven, if the security in Nigeria has removed being politicized, as far as these 7 things remains, those are political statements being made by the president, and it will not give any value. And we will come back with you in the next 6 months or 1 year and review their performance, and the result will be the same.
All right, I want us to, my colleague Priscilla Obasi is going to also engage you regarding this issue shortly, but let's talk about, for example, the personalities now, all right? You can't separate people's competence and ability to make a difference from, where they're coming from, their track record, their history, their accomplishments, and all of that. Do you have any concerns about these gentlemen who yesterday were inaugurated as service chiefs by the president?
Well, I know 3 of them very well. I know the Chief of Defense Staff very well. I know him for many years, and I have known him to be very hardworking, very agile, very committed, very honest, very sincere, very focused and vicious, and very determined. and and has always been a very good friend to the younger officers and all the other personnel, the non-military personnel that he worked with in the Ministry of Defense at various strata, various places where he worked. I know him very well.
Dr. Getso, are you still there? It will appear we're losing audio stream with him there, but we're just talking about the personalities who have now been appointed by the president. Let's take a quick break. We'll reconnect with him behind this short break, everyone.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news.
We've been able to reconnect with Dr. Getso, who was just making a very salient point a while ago about the personalities of these service chiefs. Dr. Getso, would you be kind enough to just go on? Hello, Dr. Getso, are you still there?
Yes, I'm there.
All right, please go on.
Like I was saying, the Chief of Defense Staff, I know him very well. He's very hardworking, very honest, very sincere, very determined, result driver. And I have not, based on the background info, his background information, especially in relation to places where he had worked, especially at GIG and many other places of the defense headquarters, he has a very good with his younger officers and men of the service. So he has been very determined, and I believe he has the qualities and the charisma to deliver. But the problem is he having an enabling environment. I know Air Vice Marshal Aneke. I know him to some extent. I know him very well to some extent, and I believe from the CV I have read, and for someone to have risen to that level, must be kind of highly professional. I know the Chief of Army Staff partially. I don't know the Chief of Naval Staff entirely. I don't know anything about him, and I cannot comment on him. So I believe President must have done his work, and a background check must have been conducted, even though there may be political influence here and there on their appointment, especially by seeing politicians rushing and running and tribalizing and regionalizing, whereby celebrating them on the national media through the NTA and other things, which I think is condemnable because they are professional. So politicians should be at the forefront of congratulating them ABCD. You should congratulate them privately. You should let them do their work. It's a result. We don't know whether Aneke is from South or from Northern Nigeria or from wherever he is. What we need is a result, is professional. So I'm really discouraged and really unhappy to see the Governor Ozidima or whosoever and other politicians celebrating them and congratulating them, wasting resources that have been utilized in refurbishing of schools and providing essential social needs, drugs and other things to the health facilities and so on and so forth. You went and give it to the media, you are wasting time and wasting energy and wasting. That is condemnable. But count these guys as a failure if enabling environment is not created for them.
Okay, so is it basically about just the enabling environment? Are you there?
I think we're losing audio stream for a second with him, but we hope he reconnect shortly. But he was just making a point about how that it's not just about the new service chiefs.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that must be done to be able to achieve something significant, especially in light of the targets that the president has set for them. One of that, he says, must be enabling environment, and the other is that politicians should allow politics, stay clear of military issues and not try to infuse politics in it.
Well, my question was, who creates the enabling environment? I think those that have been appointed have
the responsibility to do that.
Have the responsibility to create the enabling environment for them to work effectively. It shouldn't be totally on the hands of the president.
It's a blessing we have our guests back now. Dr. Getz, are you there, please?
Yes.
My colleague has a question for you.
All right, Dr. Getz. So my question is, who creates this enabling environment? I think the appointed service chiefs have their responsibility of creating an enabling environment for them to work effectively. It shouldn't be, other.
Well, the responsibility of creation of the enabling environment is by all and Sunday.
Okay.
It's by you.
Okay.
It's by me.
Okay.
It's by the president. It's by the legislative arm. It's by the judiciary. It's by the executive and the general populace. It is we Nigerians that are not to fight insecurity, to fight the insurgency, to fight the military and kidnapping, to fight the and to fight the phone snatchers and car snatchers, armed robbers and the rest. Because all hands must be on deck. It is the general orientation. But who is the lead? It is the president. The policy is there. And those policies must be implemented not just on paper, not just a mere political statement. The legislation must work hard for results. Legislators have been moving around for what they call oversight function. But what were the outcome?
Well, I would say competence is. Are you there, sir?
Okay, I think it's a bit of a nasty internet connection this morning, but quite importantly, the issue of enabling environment cannot be overemphasized. How important it is and all of that. And come to think of it, these are not people who just joined the military today. These are people who have done decades in service. when the outgone CDS was talking yesterday, one of the high points for me was when he talked about how that he had done 39 years and 1 month, all right, as a military man. That's a whole lot of time to have been doing the same thing for almost 4 decades. So these are not people who came into service just yesterday. But then sometimes, as my mom would say, it's not about how far, but how well. So let's hope this doesn't also become same old. Dr. Getso, it's good to have you back. I'm sure the internet is not so friendly this morning.
Yes, it's from your own end, my own end, it is very perfect.
Well, I think we can put that to a debate. I'm just joking. But quite frankly, my colleague asked that question so that we can appropriately, if you like, apportion responsibility, so that we don't just say things and hang them in the air. We say we need to create an enabling environment. So her question precisely was, whose responsibility is it?
Now, I want to see it from this perspective.
It is the responsibility of all. It is the responsibility of all.
Of both the service chiefs.
Political errands must be eradicated. Those legislative oversight function must be result-driven. The issue of promotion, the issue of demotion, the issue of sanctioning, the issue of holding people accountable for their ability given. The judiciary must be fixed. Corruption must be fought sincerely in practice, not as much wanting. Security must not be politicized. The president must provide necessary gadgets and equipment. Funding must be given and funding must be accounted for. And it must be budget must be money must be released as at when due. And there should be the end of feedback. You give me and I'll give you back. The financial misappropriation must be checked. those traditional and religious leaders who have been participating, businessmen and philanthropists, marketers who have been participating and contributing directly and indirectly into this menace must be checked. Money extortion from drivers by the army, by the police, and all the security on our roads must be checked accordingly. Sincerity and honesty must be put in place. On the social media, saying the good and the bad and the ugly must be regulated. I'm not saying regulated by impunity, but regulated by reality and justice. Those criminals that Dr. Geso and many others have been saying they are not, and they know where they are, they know who they are. They've been saying that all those criminals are known to all the security agencies, all the local government chairmen, all the members of the National Assembly and the State Assembly and the governors, as even testified by the governors of Zamfara and Kazana and many others, and dealt with accordingly. Law must be respected. Our military shouldn't be allowed to be ambushed like ants. Boko Haram must be checked. Ansaru, Lakurawa, Mahmuda, bandit, kidnappers, all of them are known, and we all know their locations, we know where they are, we know who they are, and they are Nigerians, and they must be dealt with according to the law. So law of the nation must be respected, court orders must be appreciated and accepted. So all hands must be on deck. We drill. We must come back to the rail line. So these are the enabling environment. If Geso has been telling lies, he needs to be brought to the book. He needs to be checked. He needs to be challenged to prove what he has been saying. That he knows that all the security agencies knows where the criminals are and know who are the criminals.
Okay, in that case,
if you don't know who they are,
in that case, Doctor, yes.
How do you reach out to them for dialogue? How do you reach out to them for sensitization?
Right. Let's add perspective. Let's add perspective to this, Dr. Getso. I'm sure, like you, of course, you made reference to it a while ago when the governor of the first state, Daud Alawa, talked about how that even on his mobile device, he can track these bandits and other criminals. What are we supposed to do with that information? Hello, Dr. Getso, are you still there, please?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, I was saying that the governor of Zamfara State, Daud Alawal, has told Nigerians that on his own mobile device, he can track bandits. What are we supposed to do with that information?
To use it for 3 things. 1, for the security agencies and judiciary and legislature and executive to prove him wrong or right. And 2, if he is proven right, then we should utilize.
Wow. It has gone silent again on this call. Quite an interesting conversation, no doubt. He was talking about how when you find a piece of intel, as it were, such as the one that the Zamfara State governor had put out there a while ago, 3 things should be done. And he was saying that first, the security agencies must make use of it, of course, analyze it and, make use of it. And then the legislature as well, but that was where we lost him. Let's take another break, everyone. The rest of the discussion returns shortly. Do stay with us.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What's your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Okay, we have been able to again reconnect to our guest. Dr. Getso, you were responding a while ago to what ideally should be done in your own assessment with the information from Zamfara State's Governor Dauda Lawal that on his mobile device he can track bandits. You already had mentioned security agencies. What more do we need to know in this regard? Hello, Dr. Getso, are you still there? Okay, incidentally, we have not heard from him just yet, but well, what can we do? We need to keep the show going. All right, Dr. Getso, I'm sure you can hear us now.
Yes, sure.
Good. So talk to us about those issues around intelligence coming from a 7-state governor.
Well, the reality is we have to do three things. One, we have to prove to him what are wrong. And two, if we prove him right, we should use the information for the purpose of intelligence purpose. And that could have been used in order to address issues of incompetence, challenge some other people that have been given the responsibility to do those things. So if we had utilized those informations wisely, that could have been an enabling environment and a great opportunity for us to have dealt with this situation accordingly and precisely.
Right. Interesting. I want us to also look at, can we also look at the issue of funding quickly? Because when General Oluyede, now the CDS, stood in front of legislators, I mean the senators, one of the things he talked about was funding. Is funding really an issue for the military authorities in Nigeria, or is it more of a challenge that borders on administration, excellence in administration?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm asking, is funding, can we say funding is one of the problems of the military in Nigeria? Are you still there?
Yes, of course, I am.
I'm asking a question about funding. Is funding a challenge for Nigeria's military?
Yes and no. Why I said yes is because probably it has not to be released to them. Why I said no is because of trillions, billions and millions of US dollars and pound sterling and so on and so forth that has been borrowed in the name of security. Where are the money? Have the money been utilized wisely? Have the money been utilized judiciously?
Dr. Getzel, we really would like to continue with this conversation, but it appears that the quality of service is not making that possible, or at best is just making it really hard to do. But your points are very clear. There are issues to deal with. The appointments of new service chiefs is just one of the many strands in the problem regarding insecurity in Nigeria. But we're taking a quick break. When we return, we'll look at a few more issues for you. Do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
from all indications, there are pretty good chances that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will be registering a couple more political parties going forward. As it stands today, we hear about 6 of them, maybe even 8, have scaled the first hurdle because it's a series of hurdles. All right, but if that happens, I mean, should INEC ultimately find political groups eligible to be registered as parties, what will be the implications for our political landscape and in particular for 2027? You know, Priscilla, there are those who say that Nigeria's problem is not more political parties. After all, in 2023, we had, I think, about 18 political parties that threw their hat in the ring. So why do we need more parties? And we have seen some of these political parties without national spread, many of them with little or next to no impact at all and things like that. But again, the laws are clear as to the criteria for a group to be registered as a political party, and then INEC is also very clear on what its mandate is regarding this sort of issue. But 2027 is a different kettle of fish altogether. So it appears even Priscilla Abasi wants to start a political party, Udi wants to start a political party, and everybody wants to get in the ring.
I actually think that we need more political parties.
Oh, why is that?
Because we need to, have a widespread. We need people to have options.
Right.
Yes, we need a lot of options, and we need. I think at this point we even need a youth party because it looks like we have different. What do I call us now? Our perspectives, of course, are different. And then there's this group of people in Nigeria that are seriously clamoring for the change that they need. So my question is, why not come together, bring a representative, and, have, I believe that with that kind of a formation, you'll see well-meaning people, even at top levels, come to partner, come to also, because I don't want to believe that all the leaders up there are bad. But it now looks as if, because there are two, it looks like there are just two parties, right. The PDP, the APC, we now have the ADC coming on, that those top parties, it looks like those are the only options that are available. Every other person just has to fall in. Every other person just has to, if you cannot beat them, join them. So we just need options, right? And we need options, with people that will bring together people of quality, people of integrity, people that really want to see the change. And maybe that can only happen, of course, with trying new parties here and there, forming new parties, until indeed we have, that particular party that would help us, bring these persons together. So I really think that we need new parties. New parties.
Well, yes. Let's see what INEC will do with these new groups that now are ambitious to become political parties. But again, it is their right to do that. Besides, there has been this talk for a long time now saying that, look, enough of complaining and bickering and grumbling. If you so love the country, if you're this concerned and bothered about the state of the country, it means that there's a leadership problem. And if there's a leadership problem, one of the things you can do is to join politics and then help change it. And we've even heard politicians, those who are into full-fledged politics, say that. They say, look, if you don't like the way the electoral process is, you don't like the way politicking is being done in Nigeria, there's no rule that stops you, there's no law that prevents you from coming into politics and then contribute your 2 cents. All right, let us begin to push one block at a time. We can make mistakes, there can be errors, we can fight ourselves, but we need to continue to push our country politically from where it is now to where it should be heading.
Yeah, well, about joining politics, if you're not, if you're not happy with the situation going on in the country, I think a lot of Nigerians want to actually join politics. But where are you going to? Are you going to the APC that you say, is not doing what you want them to do? And then they have their cabals, occupying top positions. They already have positions. The cabals are already at that position where they dictate what happens. Or are you going back to the PDP that you have said that, are not doing, there have been so much crisis, all of that, all the whole stuff you've complained about. Are you now going back to them? And what voice would you really have? Who would actually give you that platform to actually hear your voice or to actually say what's on your mind? So that is where the creation of new parties, for me, comes in. Because those ones that genuinely want a change can actually go to, those platforms that they feel is sane to an extent.
But how are we sure, Priscilla? It's not essentially the old guards or a fraction or faction of the old guards that is coming to start these new political parties. You know, politicians are can be very crafty and sneaky and sly and clever.
So instead of saying go and join a political party, I would say if you're not happy with the situation, go and create a political party.
With people of like
People of like minds. That's what I would say. Because, I mean, those guys are already occupying those positions in those old parties. Do you think they just want to watch you take over with your good ideologies? I mean, these are things that they are used to. Right. These are, this is what they like. So they would not just put their hands.
Don't come here and run.
So they would. So instead of saying go and join the political party, I would say come together, like minds come together and go and create a new party. That is what I would say.
But there's another challenge. The challenge of, if a political party that knows what it's doing, CZ, for example, and they're interested in bringing young people who are dynamic, love the country, want to put in the work, I think they are not going to think twice to pick you. But there's a challenge, and that has to do with funding. Because in Nigeria today,
are you talking about a new political party?
Whether new or old, because the new political parties still have to get in the same ring with those existing established parties, right? And Nigerian politics as it stands today, as I was going to say a while ago, is still money-driven, largely money-driven, right? Where you still have to, we can live in denial at this one now. Fact of the matter is, if you, with your good intentions, your well-meaning dispositions, so you are going back to your home state, you want to become a councillor for starters, not even a local government chairman, not even a member of House of Assembly, let alone governor, you want to be a local councillor. Just because you love your people, you want to serve at the community level, leaving your city life behind and all of that. Those people are going to ask for basics. You call them for a meeting, they tell you no drink, no cola nut, whatever that means, all right? No, nothing to chew on, you want to rubber palms, and of course you understand this language because you're part of them. Now, question is, where will the money come from for you to fund all of this? At first, it may look like not much, maybe 50,000, maybe 100,000, just to get them all stirred up, just to incentivize them, as it were. But you see, it is not always a one-off action. It has to continue. And it has nothing to do with whether you win the election or you lose the election, especially if it is such that in your party, the ticket is also competitive, which means you're not the only one vying for that position. You have a handful of aspirants. So at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, first, do I even have the money? Second, if I had the money, is it worth the investment? If it's worth the investment, what are my chances? What are the odds stacked against me? You must do this analysis. Otherwise, you are going to get in there with more of emotion, sentiments, and biases as against logic and be able to be analytical. I'm saying all of this to say that in Nigeria today, it is more of money than it is of genuine intention to want to serve the people. So how do we address that from a youth perspective? I spoke with a young person just before you jump in a few years ago. In fact, we're colleagues, right? And he said, so I told him, I said, look, no matter what you think Nigeria is like today, this was in 2019. I said, no matter what you think Nigeria is like today, this country will be great again. I don't know how soon it will happen, but I know Nigeria can never remain like this. I'm not sure who is going to change it. I don't know what circumstances will bring about that change, but there's going to be some sort of cataclysm, to sound like one former legislator. But there's going to be a change. Nigeria will move from this place to a far better place over time. But I can't tell you what the details are because I don't even have those details. He said something to me. He said, no, Nigeria should not be better yet. I must eat my own first. Don't come and tell me Nigeria is better when it's my turn. So, and it wasn't missing words. It wasn't playing around. You have no idea, Priscilla, how many persons think like this till this minute about this country.
So the question is, what makes you think you cannot eat if Nigeria is better?
How do we define eat? What are we eating and how are we eating?
Well, I think everybody just wants to be comfortable. The truth of the matter is, you cannot take anything out of this world. All we need in this life is just comfort. Have what to eat, have a good place to stay. That is all we need. The basics of life is comfort, good food, good clothing, good housing, good roads and all of that. With that, I don't think it stops anyone from being happy. So that should be our definition of it. The moment we start that should be. Is it? That's the question. So now, answering your earlier question. Now, the thing I think about Nigerians or those that I think we all have, somehow we all want to have, ulterior motives. You don't think about contesting because you want to, be the good man in the people's face. I think it should start from serving the people. You don't have to be a leader. You need to know how to penetrate the people's hearts. If, for example, I want to be a councillor in 2030, what I should start doing now is, I should be able to know that I am a leader first. I have the heart for the people. It is not because I want to be a leader that I should have the heart for the people. I should have the heart for the people first to become a leader. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So we, as Nigerians, sometimes we see this political space as one place to go and impress people, to just go and, to go and eat, like the other guy, described eating. But I can say that you don't need to have the whole world to have the heart of the people. I know, yes, money answers all things, but there are other ways to give to the society. You must not give millions and billions to be appreciated or to be, but there's a way you can help. There's a way you can really penetrate the heart of the people from the little you have. And with that, you start to get like minds, people that would genuinely come to support you, genuinely know that what you are doing is organic, what you are doing is good. And with that, you already have, a support system around you. Now give it the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years doing organically. I mean, no ulterior motive. That should inspire you to now say, okay, I need to represent these people at such level to become a councillor. And when you eventually vie for that position, I can tell you that because of the impact you have made, you don't need to go and start buying votes at that point. If Nigeria gets good, if Nigeria gets better, if Nigeria gets to that point where we say elections count, elections is free and fair, people that are organically, caring, organically giving to their society would come out without so much in their account and win elections. That is what I feel.
But Priscilla, when you sound like this too, it comes with mixed feelings for me, right? Okay. The first is the reinforcement in me of the conviction that Nigeria will get better. This is not me trying to be politically correct. And this Nigeria will get better thinking. It's not about APC, PDP, APGA, Labour, whichever political party or the coalition. No, it's about the men and women that will rise up and say, we can't continue to be a mediocre country. We can't continue to put politics ahead of lives. We can't continue to play politics first before we realize that there's something called health, quality healthcare service. Before we get to figure out that we're supposed to invest massively in education. Before we get to tell ourselves that, hold on a second, we're not supposed to be playing second fiddle in terms of how the world thinks, in terms of global competitiveness. We're supposed to be challenging the status quo. We're going to have those people. That's on one hand. The other feeling is the reminder that there's a whole lot of work that needs to be done. This is not just going to happen by chance. I'll give you an example. So we had a gentleman on the show on Tuesday, I think, Toba Wojaye, an amazing, great man. And he said something on the show when he made reference to Lee Kuan Yew, the first Prime Minister of Singapore, of how that his country was not just in a bad place, his people were in a desperate place, right? So bad that even Malaysia had to cut them off. Because, they say success has many siblings and stuff, even though we don't know their parents, all right? But I don't know for failure or the reverse of success. So nobody really wanted to identify with them. In fact, by some accounts, Lee Kuan Yew had even been in Nigeria at the point back in the day to say, look, I can use some help, some partnership with Nigeria and all of that. But all of these efforts were either not paid off at all, or it was just like he was boxing the air, right? So at the end of the day, what happened? He took a second look at where they were as a country and asked himself, what can we do to better our own lot? Now, this is leadership, taking responsibility instead of looking for who to blame, instead of saying it was Priscilla who led the previous government before I came, all right? So he asked, what can we do to become better? First of all, he builds capacity and competence in himself. Replicated that amongst his people, went into real estate. In fact, you can imagine how much of authority it took for him to write a book called From Third World to First World, and that's the story of Singapore. I was talking to my one of my relatives in 2006. He was telling me, I didn't check out the data though, that if you wanted to start a business in Singapore at that time, establish a business in Singapore, as of 2006, almost 2 decades ago, you will need a minimum of $1 million. I mean, regardless of where you're coming from, anywhere in the world. Having done the paperwork, having been found eligible, you would need a minimum $1 million startup seed to start a business, because the country is commercially, economically attractive. In Singapore, their education policy is such that once your child completes primary education, the goal of primary or elementary education is to fall in love with the country. So your child becomes a patriot. He loves the country with his heart. It doesn't matter who is the prime minister, who is the head of the legislature, or who is the chief justice. Your child just loves the country. That's the goal of primary education. It's not to speak English and sound, whitish, if you know what I mean. But today, the man has passed. That success story continues to be replicated. In fact, today Singapore has some of the best airports, some of the best seaports, some of the best infrastructure, whatever you can think of. I mean, the highest sophistication in terms of infrastructure is Singapore, right? What else did they do, or did he do very well? The fight against corruption. He led by example. In fact, the story is out there, it's in public domain, of how that a minister had been indicted in a corruption case, and he made up his mind to commit suicide, and told somebody it was better for him to take his own life rather than face Lee Kuan Yew. Because he knew it was a zero tolerance for corruption kind of system they were running. So the question is, are we ready to make the big move? It's the big moves that change organizations. It's the big moves that turn countries around. I mean, look at all the countries that have been turned around. Is it Vietnam? Is it Singapore? Is it Malaysia? Is it Brazil? Or even behind us here in our backyard, so to speak, South Africa, or Kenya, or Rwanda in particular, in the eastern part of Africa. So it is the big move, even for individuals. If my grades are bad in 100 level as an undergraduate, and I think there's time, this is time I turned the corner and bump my grades. It has to be the big move. That big move can be me saying that instead of reading cumulative 2 hours a week, I want to now read 1 hour, 30 minutes a day. That's a big move. Yeah. Instead of partying 3 days, 2 days a week, I can say I only party one weekend, which is a Saturday, right, in a month. But the question is, why are we not making those big moves?
Well, I think we, as Nigerians, we're waiting for a leader that would come and help us
to make the big moves.
Just like Singapore's, minister did that for them. But I don't think it's attainable. I don't think it's something that is possible. I think, I pray that we have.
Which is not attainable. The big move of finding a Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes, finding that Lee Kuan Yew. Yes, that is what we are waiting for in Nigeria. One president that will just come and solve all the
But there were some people who said we already found that in Obi in 2022.
But he didn't emerge. That's the problem. So we're waiting for somebody to emerge, and do the magic.
Right.
But I really think that in this country, we really have what it takes, just like you have said. One of our big problems in Nigeria is classism. The big guys want to, intimidate the small guys.
Those coming from behind.
And those that have managed to escape want to show that, I must also feel among. You understand? If we drop
those that have managed to escape,
that is it. You want to feel like when I was there, I used to be like you. So you want to be a motivational speaker to those ones that are upcoming and tell them that don't worry, you will make it too. Just keep looking up to me and all of that. That is the problem in Nigeria. Funny though, but that is the reality. You want to be among the guys that will do giveaway on social media. You understand? For people to be chatting about my account number is this, posting account numbers and all of that. The moment we drop all those kind of mindsets, we'll move forward. We have great guys in this country. We have great minds. We have all that it takes. I was speaking to you, behind the camera, saying that what stops us from having our own telecom company in Nigeria. I don't think anything is stopping us. You get so
indigenous.
I'm telling you,
there's several of them. Even if all your focus is just internet service.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody brings their own,
broadband, high speed.
I'm telling you, we can actually do it. But we need to understand that it is in our hands. We are first Nigerians, and if we have common mindset, if we have like minds, come together and push a particular goal. You see people, I get amazed when I see, I don't want to call the influencers. Somebody just posts something and they tell everybody come together and push a narrative. And you see how they do it collectively.
Right.
Before you know, it becomes the buzz. It becomes
even when it's fake news.
I'm telling you, it becomes something on the internet. If you can have such a power,
right.
you can imagine just few influencers coming together to just push something. Recently, there's been this justice for Ochanya, the lady that was...
Well, the lady that said was rapes,
Yes, and you see people coming together to push it. So what can we not do together? That is the question. We actually have the power to bring about the change we want to see. We have the intellectual capabilities. We have everything that it takes. The majority of Nigerians are intellectuals.
Right.
That is what I feel. So let us just drop the whole mindset of waiting for one Messiah to come and save us and fix it. We can actually fix it from our own little corner. And even nationally, we can come together and fix it. That's what I would say. Yeah.
All right, sir. What more can we say? Let's take a quick break, everyone. There's a lot to be fixed in this country, but Priscilla and I are just taking our time to break it down for you one at a time. When we return, the rest of Global Morning will continue. Please stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
You know, a while ago, Priscilla and I were talking about Nigeria and the kind of thinking that we need to evolve to be able to move this country from where it is today. And I'm seeing that we also need to do a lot of house cleaning, or if you like, some sort of review of our perspective, all right? Whether it's business or leadership. Some things can happen over one weekend. Some things can happen at the snap of fingers. However, there are those things that will take time, sometimes years, sometimes decades to come to fruition. I remember, for example, a lecturer told us in class about how that Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates, one of which is Dubai, that we are proud to go to every now and then, had discovered oil almost around the same time. But you could see the look on his face. I can't forget now how that when it got to the point of trying to do what they call comparative analysis, his demeanor changed and he went vernacular on us. You know, trying to express his deep-seated disappointment over what the UAE has done with oil money versus what Nigeria has done with oil money. So again, this culture of cash out, let's cash out. It may not be a problem cashing out, but the question is, how soon do you want to cash out? Is it realistic? I was looking at this gentleman a few days ago, Dr. Chinonso, I think that's his name. Is it Gemba or something? Aproko doctors we popularly call him.
Okay.
Yes. I remember when I started following him, was it 2014, 2015, thereabouts? At least 10, 11 years ago. He was basically doing challenges on Twitter, as it was then known, now X. So he could come up with a challenge and say, for the next 30 days, Priscilla, we, and the rest of you guys, no carbonated drinks, no soda, whatever, just water, fruits. You know, let's do fruit challenge. You must have one fruit every day for the next 30 days. Whatever fruit is up to you, but you must have fruit every day. So everybody will come and complain. So I will say, no, me, I couldn't eat fruit. I started for 2 days, I did fruit, but the next day I ate a big, people would laugh and stuff. It was gradually gaining traction while also helping people to better understand their health and improve on their lifestyle choices. Today is a brand ambassador. Today is almost like an authority when it comes to healthy living and lifestyle on social media. Today, he and another doctor have launched their own platform. Last time I checked a few months ago, they were looking for, they put out more like an advertorial for angel investors, capital, venture capitalists to throw their money into the whole idea. I mean, this is an ongoing development or developing project. What I'm saying with all of this is there is a history to how he started the whole thing. It didn't happen overnight. So if we wake up tomorrow, for example, this gentleman and his friend become the wealthiest Africans in the health sector in terms of investment, we say, well, there's something they're not telling us. There's something they did. They must have done something somewhere. They are not telling us the truth. Yes, it's not normal. This is more than meets the eye. Oga, you're just speaking English. Have you checked his history? Have you seen where he's coming from? Have you seen some posts that he put out some 10, 11 years ago where he talked about waiting at the bus stop somewhere, Surulere, and all of that, jumping buses, downfall in Lagos like everyone else. Have you seen all of those? What I'm trying to drive home here is the fact that we must be futuristic while being proactive about where we want to be individually, as families, as society, and then even as a government and the people. Otherwise, we're just going to always be in a hurry to want to achieve a lot of things that other countries took decades to build. I think we must bring back the build culture. And I like how young people put it these days in most cases when they say, look, build something. I like how they use the term. I like the context within which they apply that word, build. You have to build. It can be a product. Even in the media, for example, we say, okay, we're coming up with an initiative. It could be a program. It could be an idea. It could be a foundation, whatever it is. We must know that there's a build process. So it's not just going to be something you start this Friday. You come back here on Monday, it has come to fruition, and everything is It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I kind of like that perspective. You know, the Americans, sometimes when they want to shoot a movie, they take years, you know, to put in the work. And eventually when it comes out, you can see how rich, how beautiful it comes out. But on this part of the world, Nigeria, you know, like you have mentioned, we just want to do things, want to get results instantly. There's so much pressure on everyone. Building takes a lot of intentionality. Yeah, if we want to build in Nigeria, right, it's not just about waiting for years to pass and not achieving anything. No, while you're waiting for time to pass, you're putting in strategies, you're having your plans. You know what the plan of today would result in tomorrow, and what tomorrow's plan, how it will transform the next tomorrow, and all of that. You just have your timeline of how things will play out. You have a well-detailed, plan and a graph to see the result at the end of the day. So when we talk about building, some people would, we're not saying just go there and waste your time and don't worry, in the next 10 years, just give yourself time. You're not doing anything about it. You're just waiting for time and say,
what are you doing every day for the next 10 years?
For the next 10 years, that is it. What are you doing every single day for the next 10 years? How well are you planning out how the next 10 years will eventually, will play out? So building is important. It is also to motivate, the young ones out there. Building is important. There's no magic in life. Whatever you sow,
you reap.
You reap. It's as simple as that. So what are we sowing in Nigeria? What are our leaders sowing? How well are they investing into, do they have a 10-year plan?
Yeah.
And what is that map towards the 10-year plan? It's not just about coming out and saying, I have in the next 2030, this will happen. In the next 10 years, Nigeria will be transformed. Our economy will be, what are we doing every day? How are we getting experts to come together to make sure that that thing is actually actualized? I was going to talk about the fact that the president has urged the service chiefs, to come out and do their best. It is time for the service chiefs to come out and say, this is what it will take to actually bring out whatever it is you want us to do. Spell it out. Everybody should be held accountable. We cannot keep blaming the president for things that goes bad. As long as he has called them out and said, I have given you the authority, go and make sure you bring the results, then they should come out and say, this is what it will take to achieve whatever results that you want to achieve. And when they are being provided whatever it will take to achieve that result, then they should be held accountable. And don't just wait for them to, after 4 years, come and hold them accountable. After 2 years, when you see that banditry is becoming something else. No, after 1 month, come and ask them for, let them give you what exactly they have done. Yeah, after 2 months, what have you guys done? Follow the process up.
You track performance.
Track the performance. That is the problem in Nigeria. We don't track performance. We just give out money. We just give out things. Go and execute this contract, and somehow something just a foul play just, plays out along the line. And somehow you feel like, okay, if it has gone bad, I'll benefit from it.
Right.
If you can give me my own take, everything, no worry, nobody gets to know about it. That is the problem in Nigeria. So we need to be accountable. We need to plan. We need to grow. We need to build, just like you have said.
All right, we're taking another break, everyone. We're beginning to tie it up, but let's return from this break and begin to put the icing on the cake for you. Do stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, let's begin to wrap up on the program today. As we end the business week as we know it, one of the things Nigerians want to see going forward is a better life, especially as it has to do with their ability to afford food and then other essentials. Nigerians also want to see that we move from where we are today to a better place in terms of the quality of leadership that we find. And that brings us to the issue of state governors. I think recently it appears that for whatever reason, people are now pointing more towards state governments than we had seen. Yes, because before now, for every little thing, everybody wants to talk about the federal government. The federal government. So much so that if your USB cord refuses to be compliant with your phone, you say, well, the federal government
allowed them to import fake
into the country. How can we have a president who allows this kind of fake import? But today, people now know better. People now know, are now beginning, at least gradually, to understand that specific problems should be channeled to specific quarters. And as such, you can't have a situation where governors are now receiving more more allocations every month than before. In some cases, we hear twice, thrice, or even 4 times higher. And yet, no governor is coming out to speak about these things. Neither are, in most states, citizens feeling the impact of this humongous increase.
Well, it's time for citizens. I like the fact that our eyes are now open, right? We now know that our governors owe the states. They owe the responsibility of making the state better. So Nigerian citizens, more than ever before, are becoming aware of this, and this is also to make them more aware that you can actually, it's not everything you direct to the president, right? The governor has responsibility, and down to the local government chairman, because sometimes these funds are actually sent downwards. But we have in the last 5 years, you've never heard someone come out to say, my local government chairman, or even up till now. Right. Have you ever heard someone come out to say, my local government chairman did not do this, or my local government chairman has failed to do this? We have the roads, potholes everywhere. The streets are, having terrible roads, and nobody has come out to blame the local government chairman. All we, points to is the president, at least, or at most, we go back to the governors. But like I am saying, or like we are saying, time has come, or it is now very much evident to Nigerians out there that your state governors receive funds to make your states better. You should know how to, and the process too. The process. I was with a guest on I don't know what particular show, I can't really remember, but he said that there is a process to demanding accountability from your governors down to the local government chairman and down to the councillors of every state. So the process is something that everybody should know about. You get? Right. We don't know. We don't understand structure in this part of the world. So it's not about coming out to shout. No, what are you doing about it? Right. If you come out to shout, or you can come out to shout all you want, if you don't take the right processes, if you don't take the right, step to see that thing changes, it will never change. It's not about coming out to shout. At most, okay, you can get lucky and, somehow your voice will be heard by one influencer or by one governor or by one House of Rep member, and you have to have some level of connection to even push it forward. But there is a process to making your voice heard in this country, and Nigerians need to be aware. The National Orientation Agency needs to come out to tell Nigerians how to demand accountability from every leader that is being elected in this country. We need to know. We need to know the right steps to demand accountability from leaders in Nigeria.
Of course, we must know the right steps. And that's why you see people keep talking about civic education. For citizens to understand that the fact that you have a governor does not make that person, the governor, an emperor or a lord, as it were. They are still human beings. In fact, they are meant to serve you. Somebody was trying to explain. Okay, so I had a conversation with somebody who was trying to explain certain things about governance, politics, and public leadership and what have you. And I said, to me, I see a state governor, just like the other elected individuals, as employees in the company. If like call them junior staff, call them mid-level staff, call them senior managers, whatever it is. But they are employees in a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
And their job is to serve these people who are more like the owners of the company. So if a governor says, he's supposed to be an employee in a company owned by citizens of that state, how is it that the governor is feared, the governor is revered, the governor is worshipped, the governor is, in a good number of cases, almost deified, the governor scares everybody with sirens and rifle-wielding policemen, all right? How did we come to that? You know, there was a concept I really admired those days, even though some people now say that it was at best superficial. Former governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, used to call himself the chief servant of the state. I was much younger then. I liked the idea that a governor would call himself the chief servant. But how he served is a different assessment we probably can do later. But that's what it's supposed to be, yes. I'm not just the servant, I'm a chief. We are all servants of this state because the state belongs to all of us. But I'm the chief servant, I'm the number one servant. In other words, I serve based on exemplary leadership. In other words, what I can't do, I don't expect you to do it. So I must lead by example. I must take the people of my state by the hand. But the question is, do we still have that in the states, in a country where you have state governors who rather invest the entire state's resources in their second term bid than build a hospital, than fix roads, than invest in education and other critical areas that would drive the state. And that's why today you see that we are finding a report coming out from budget saying that at least 30 states in this country still largely rely on federal allocation every month. In other words, if you were to cut federal allocation to those states, you can only imagine, it's better to imagine than experience what will happen to them. In fact, part of that report I read a few days ago says it's only 2 states that can independently run without monthly allocation. And it's amazing how those 2 states are in the southeast.
Can imagine.
Right.
Part of the
36 states.
Part of the criteria right now, I feel that INEC should implement, or we should implement, a criteria that whoever is coming out to bid for a position of, governor should be a businessman. Should be someone that will know how to replicate, multiply funds. Just imagine that you were given a particular space.
Right.
These guys, these are states that have talented Nigerians, that have businessmen and women, that has a lot of, that has potentials for setting up good infrastructure, creating employment. It's just, it's not so difficult. I don't believe it is that difficult. And then we have these same governors depending solely on federal allocation. It's so sad. It is sad. So we need to see governors that are able to, multiply funds, put funds back into the system to make sure that it generates more for you. And that's one of the reasons why I was saying that, this new tax reform that is coming in 2026, I feel, and I really hope that it will be in such a way that most states that are able to generate so much from the citizens should be allocated more funds. It's only fair that way.
Right.
It's only fair.
It is only fair. And add to that, how is it that in the end, these same states, 30 of them we hear now, that cannot survive without monthly allocation, also get the monthly allocation and are not able to account for a chunk of it because the governors and all those other people in government are more, they're prioritizing their own interests, their own selfish interest over the interest of the people. So at the end, the economic outcome is very clear. Such states continue to become at best mediocre or impoverished because whether I like it or not, there are economic principles that you cannot flout. In fact, flouting them has grave consequences.
Yeah.
And every forward-thinking governor who understands how these fundamentals work does not take chances, understands that I only have 4 years guaranteed, having, as it is in most cases, one at the Supreme Court, right? 4 years at most. So how do I at least show that I didn't leave the state where I met it? I moved it one notch further. Yes, you may not have done a miracle or magic, but at least you didn't leave the state at that point where you picked it up. you moved it 1 inch forward. So whoever comes after you should also do their bit and things like that. You see, the governor must be clear, first of all, as to what he wants to achieve. These things are not as easy as we say, because you are leading human beings, diverse characters and all of that. But you must also understand that to whom much is given, much is expected. In Nigeria, if you want to run for governor, you already know what it's going to cost you in terms of money, time, and energy. You know what it takes to campaign. In my state, for example, we have 18 local government areas. Each of those 18 local government areas has several wards. And as somebody who wants to become the governor of the state, even if you are the incumbent running for a second term in office, you've got to visit all of those wards. And all of those wards have leaders, whether they're in your political parties or in the opposition parties, but they have leaders. You must meet with them. They must know you. You must campaign. You must go for a rally. In some cases, there are places you go more than once. So you must do all of that. So are you saying, with all the energy you are putting into all of this, you are not even clear what to do when you eventually, if you eventually win? And that's why you realize that the governor comes into office, it takes them forever to appoint commissioners, because they were never clear what they wanted to do in their time in office as governors. Well, incidentally, it happens that these are not conversations you can exhaust during one discussion. Would like to say a big thank you to you today for spending a part of your Friday morning with us here on the program. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe, wishing you the best of the weekend ahead.
And I am Priscilla Obasi.